so clear to me what the connection is to the work of Girls on the Run. So I know you've all been here for 2 days. I know you probably have trains or planes or just want to get home. So I promise I will not keep you too long, but I do want to share a little bit about Girls on the Run with you. Oh, hold on, it's asking me questions. I don't know the answer to that. Hang on. There we go. All right, so my bio pretty much introduced me. I had to laugh in talking with some people today. So many careers are intended to be linear, but are not, right? Like you do one thing first, you study something. I studied government pretty much entirely to argue better with my father, who was a government professor, and then I got a master's in women and gender studies, he claims, so that I could beat him in those arguments. So I'm not entirely sure that that's always been true, but it is often true. Now I have an almost 13-year-old who uses a lot of my arguments against me, so I'm not sure if that's karma or not, but clearly that's what it feels like most days. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Girls on the Run and our core values. You're going to see so many links to what all of you have been talking about this morning. Then just share a little bit about the need for GOTR. I promised Judy I would not be depressing, though we live in a world that sometimes can be challenging, especially for young girls. And then I'm going to talk about our programs, and I'm going to have you do something really quick that I hope will be an inspiring end to this conference, and then I will let you go on your way, which is the moment when my students breathe a sigh of relief. When they're like, you're not going to keep me till 7:15 for my 2-hour class? Yes, I promise I will not keep you any longer than necessary. There are just some fun pictures of what we do here at Girls on the Run, but here is a brief overview. As was mentioned, our mission, we envision a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams. That says nothing about running. It says nothing about being a good athlete. It says nothing about having to be the best at something. It is whatever you want to do, we want you to have the tools to do it and be able to achieve that. We inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident using a fun, experience-based curriculum with creatively integrates running. And then value proposition, which are buzzwords for a lot of things these days. We are the only national physical activity-based positive youth development program for girls with a research-based curriculum, trained coaches, and evidence of impact. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. Girls on the Run has just under 200 councils across the United States and in Canada. And I think that's why a conference like this is so important, because it's one thing to hear about something that inspires you that's in your own community, and it's another to hear about something that you don't feel you can connect to because it's nowhere near you. Almost all of you should have a Girls on the Run somewhere near you in the US or Canada. These are our core values, and I want to draw your attention to the third one, the one in the upper corner over there. This is what everything we do at Girls on the Run stems from, these 6 things. And one of the things that I joke is that often I talk about these more in my outside of Girls on the Run life than my Girls on the Run life. Like at a PTO meeting, in which I have to remind myself that everybody is doing the best they can. If you've been to a PTO meeting, I really feel like you can understand what I'm saying here. Sporting events. You ever watch a child or a grandchild play sports and hear some of the parents and fans in the background? Can be exhausting. So I remind myself of these all the time. But the one that I think connects the most to all of what you've been talking about is embrace our differences and find strength in our connectedness. You all come here with different backgrounds, with different focuses of the work you do, with different time in your life to dedicate to things outside of family, outside of work, outside of whatever else it is you enjoy doing. And I find all the time that when people come up to me in the grocery store, at the soccer field, or at the PTO meetings, what they want to talk to me about is not how their daughter did in Girls on the Run. They want to talk to me about the time that they modeled a lesson, or they understood something, or the teacher that sees a change because of what Girls on the Run taught them. And I don't take any credit for that. It is entirely because of these core values. And so many of them connect to the things that you've all said this morning. Gratitude, connectedness, our power, right? If we want something to change, we have to be the ones to change it. So those are all part of what we do at Girls on the Run. These are just more fun pictures of our kids. The need for Girls on the Run, it is more and more evident to me, particularly as the mom of an almost 13-year-old. She would be really mad if I called her 12. So my almost 13-year-old. This is the reality of their lives today, right? There are more than 12 million girls ages 8 to 13 in the United States, and these statistics come from the most recent Girls Inc., CDC, and Surgeon General's reports. And I have more if you want depressing news about where the state of our girls. Dr. Ali Riley is the head of programming at Girls on the Run International, and she gave a speech this summer that was so profoundly powerful and at the same time so profoundly depressing, and then ultimately so profoundly inspiring that there is so much we all can do every day, whether you're involved in Girls on the Run or not, to address some of these concerns. So in that 8 to 13 self-confidence begins to drop by age 9. I don't know if you can remember when you were age 9, but I definitely didn't worry about the same things that my daughter did at age 9, or what she worries about now at 12. I am the really mean mom that won't let her have social media, but I say to her all the time, I couldn't learn the things I do about the work I do and be okay with you scrolling Snapchat with your friends. So that'll be an ongoing battle, I'm sure. Girls' physical activity levels decline at age 10 and continue to decrease throughout adolescence. Those super confident girls on the soccer field or cheerleading, or in my daughter's case, she's a competitive swimmer or playing basketball. Those girls that do that at 7, 8, and 9, we are losing them every year after that. It is no longer what they want to be doing. And where does that come from, right? They're receiving that message somewhere, whether we realize it or not. The U.S. has experienced a mental health crisis that is disproportionately impacting girls. And the next statistic is one of the ones I have the hardest time with. My daughter's in 8th grade. The largest drop in confidence has been among 5th and 6th graders. In 2017, 86% of 5th graders described themselves as confident. In 2023, that was down to 68%. And the most recent study suggests it's now even lower. It's closer to 60%. 66% of girls in 5th to 12th grade, so about 9 to about 18, said their feelings towards their bodies make them less confident, and 9 out of 10 girls say they're under pressure to be pretty. And we all know where that comes from. And there's so many voices yelling at our kids, both inside and outside, that make them think these things. So what are we doing about it? How is Girls on the Run addressing this? So Girls on the Run offers 2 programs. One is for grades 3 through 5, and one is for grades 6 through 8. It is a 10-week program. They meet twice a week for 10 weeks. And the idea is that they, with trained coaches, spend time twice a week exploring emotion, conflict, friendship, standing up for one another, all of those things that are the core values of what we do. In the Girls on the Run program, they are also inspired to make a meaningful contribution through community-based programs, girl-led community-based health programs. So that means that for me, in the spring, I have 20 sites of girls. That is 20 projects happening in our communities. And if you've ever hung out with a 3rd through 8th grade girl, they all want to save all the pets. And so there are a lot of pet-related community impact projects. But once we get past that, we did birthday boxes for the local hospital. We've done food drives. We've done, last year, they found that the girls in particular, but all of the kids finishing 5th grade were really nervous about going to middle school in Groton, so the next town over. And so what they did was they created superstar awards for every 5th grader in the school to make them feel ready for middle school. So the projects they come up with, the things they do are entirely girl-inspired and girl-initiated. The coaches are only there to help provide context. So I have driven a lot of supplies to local humane societies. I have attended a lot of food drives. We had a family, one in Mystic and one in Colchester in the last 2 years, both had moms battling cancer, and so they did projects directly connected to raising funds for the types of cancer that those parents were experiencing. So they used their Practice 5K as a chance to bring families in to cheer on the girls, and they asked for donations, and they were able to send a check to the type of cancer that mom was battling. So these girls inspire me every day with the work they do. And that project, that connection, is such a unique part of what we do. It's not what you think of when you hear Girls on the Run, but it is such a powerful connection to the work they do together. In Heart and Soul, it is an individualized project. So for some girls, it would be something very big like that. For others, it's simply reaching out to a family member or making a connection with a school guidance counselor or helping set some goals. It's much more individualized because we've learned that in 6th through 8th grade, that has to be more of the focus. They're maybe not as good at working with each other, not as interested in working with each other, but they're really wanting to address things that matter to them. Both groups participated in end of season 5K, and you'll see a video in a second, but if you've ever been to a 5K, the mentor of the last speaker was a Goder girl in Atlanta, she shared. So the girl still at Penn State was a Goder girl in Atlanta. It is magic. There are girls dancing across the finish line, skipping across the finish line, walking across the finish line. Running is not a requirement. And they all run with a running buddy. So that's someone they've identified. It could be a coach, a parent, a big brother, a big sister. It can be a grandparent. It's been a babysitter at times. They complete the race in a non-competitive way with that person by their side. The idea being that they set a goal that they, as a group, are going to finish a 5K, and they complete it. And it is amazing to watch. We have 3 curriculums. The first 2 are brand new. One was piloted last year, one this year. Hello Superstar and Hello Mountain Mover. So much of what we do is inspired by IDEA, inclusion, diversity, equity, and access, and really looking at the ways in which our girls view the world and how we can then take that into account as we help them navigate that world. And then Heart and Soul is the middle school program, which really, like I said, looks more at that emotion and empathy. Here's our national movement. Every year, approximately 180,000 girls ages 8 to 13 participate across US and Canada. We host 300 5K events a year. Again, biased, definitely. I think they're pretty magical. We've served more than 2.5 million girls since we started in 1996 in North Carolina. And then back to those community impact projects, about 11,500 projects are done a year, which as you can imagine is a lot of pets, or a lot of birthday boxes, or a lot of food drives, and they are making a difference in all the communities that they exist in. Here for us, we host both seasons annually. Our fall season will be our largest ever fall season. It starts next week. During the last school year, we served 20 sites, primarily schools, though we have had some youth service bureaus. The Mohegan Tribe, which is local to us here, has a community and government center which hosts a site, YMCAs. We served more than 300 girls last year. We had more than 400 running buddies and volunteers, and then we piloted Camp Voter, which is a 2-week program, much more designed for sort of short impact, last summer, which was really incredible. We did that in Haddam, Killingworth. Our season, like I said, starts next week, and our 5K is November 23rd. I want to show you just a bit about what we're about.
These girls are superstars. This is our biggest season ever, and we can't wait to see all of you cross the finish line.
That's Blaze, the maze for the mascot for the Connecticut Sun, WNBA team. Our race was at Fort Chantoc, which is owned by the Mohegan Tribe in Dunstall. That's just a snippet of the magic of our 5K. I cry at all of those too, which is unsurprising.